Hi, folks. We're back. Hello. This is Daniel, and I'm joined with a very special guest today, and her name is Mary. Mary Kenniston, that is. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Daniel. How are you today?
I'm jazzed. I'm honored to have you here, and I'm just honored to be here. Uh, uh, I wouldn't have thought, I wouldn't have thought I'd be doing this a couple months ago, and then about 5 days ago, the phone rang, and Adrienne Beach asked me if I wanted to come and stream this. So I couldn't turn it down. And then when I knew I was coming to Vegas, I had to take you up on my promise and get in touch with you. So I'm glad you're joining us. How are you doing?
I'm doing real well. Doing real well. Moved back to Vegas the end of February, and we bought a townhouse, and so we've been remodeling it. So that's kind of kept me busy.
And you're enjoying it, right?
I'm
You got a pool table at home.
Yeah, like I said, I spent most of my adult life here in Vegas, and so to me, this is home, even though I didn't grow up here. I have a lot of friends that are still here, and
Okay, so I'm cheating here a little bit because this match is just beginning, and we have with us on the live stream table
Jeannie SEAVER is shooting
that's
now,
right, Jeannie
and
SEAVER.
She is my former sparring partner when I lived in Florida. She plays pretty sporty.
That's what I'm told. And
don't know the other lady.
I believe it's Suzanne Smith.
Okay, I've heard of her, but I don't know her.
Yes, that's correct. So I do have some bios on these players. Unfortunately, not all of them, but I'll shuffle through the paperwork here and I'll find it. So, are you familiar with the NAPT? This is what this is. This is NAPT.
Yeah, vaguely familiar.
Okay.
I know they've had several events throughout the year. I think this is the last one for the year.
But that still wouldn't convince you to come out of retirement, would it?
When I was in Florida, I played in a couple events.
Did you?
Yeah, and
So as early as this year?
no, not this year. But in fact, I rode with Jeannie and her sister to the last one in Cape Coral. And the thing is when they have these events, I say, you know what? I think I want to play. And then when I play, I don't really have any fun. You sit around. A lot of these. It's different today. I don't know most of the players. You're sitting around, and it's not fun.
Okay.
And if I'm going to play, first of all, I want to have fun, and second of all, I want to win.
Yeah.
And, And I've been playing since I was in my early 20s, competing in my early 20s. And in those days, I had the drive, the want to, the determination, the killer.
Right, the ice in your veins is what they always refer to.
I didn't care about anything except
winning,
playing pool and winning. And I don't have that anymore. I still play every day. I have a beautiful table in my house, and I have a couple of people that come over and hit balls with me. Other nights I play by myself, and I love the game, but I just don't have the desire to compete anymore. I thought about playing in this, and
did you really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
just a couple of my friends from the old days, like Lori, John, and Allison, and those, they said, we're coming. You're gonna play. I said, I don't know. I did. I thought about it, but when when the time came, I don't have that desire to play anymore.
That's actually another reason why I was excited for you to come here, because I knew you were going to run into old friends.
Yeah. Well, I was going to come down anyway to see the girls I used to play with and to meet some of the younger ones that I do know, and meet some new ones like Eleanor Collado. I don't know if that's Emily or Eleanor.
That's Eleanor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I've heard of them,
Yeah.
but I've never seen them play.
Oh, okay, okay.
And,
So these are friends of mine, that I've
Yeah.
known from the
Yeah.
Bay Area.
Yeah. So
and
like I say, my plan was to come and to hang, and
good plan.
and then I got the
good
best seat
plan,
in the
Mary.
house.
You do have the
sitting
best.
here with you.
Oh.
I get to sweat it, and on a pool table and on the monitor, and it looks like Jeannie won the first game.
Yeah, and you're right. She's a hot shot.
She is. She plays good.
Yeah, she is a hot shot.
Plays
You know what?
good.
I don't have a bio on her opponent, Suzanne Smith, but Jeannie SEAVER, I do have her a little questionnaire on her. She's nicknamed the Quiet Storm. She comes out of Rockledge, Florida.
She just bought, right before I left Florida, she bought a beautiful house.
Uh-huh.
She likes to fish. She likes the water, and it's on the river, the Indian River. And she's got room for a pool table.
Oh, nice.
And it's a cool house.
Is this how you became familiar with her? Is just by living in Florida and
Yeah, we
and
lived.
being in different
she
pool
lived
rooms?
in the next town from me, so we
Okay.
hooked up, and so we became good friends. But
Oh, no-
anyway,
Go ahead.
so I tease her and say, "Well, you waited until I moved before you bought your house."
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway,
Well, it was just a business decision.
yeah. Yeah. No, Jeannie's a good girl. She's a good girl.
She said she one of her pool memories is traveled the world with Guy Young Kim.
Yes,
Do you know anything
she's
about
good.
this?
She's very good friends with Guy Young Kim.
Okay.
And I just met Guy Young a few years ago. Charlie Williams put on a 10-ball tournament in New York City.
Uh-huh.
So he talked me into playing and got me sponsored. So I went up there, and so that was where I first met and saw Guy Young Kim play. And but Jeannie, Guy Young, when the WPBA had a vibrant tour,
Uh-huh.
Guy Young stayed with Jeannie and her family, and
Oh.
so they're very good friends. But that was, before I got to Florida.
Okay. So this was maybe around 10 years ago.
Yeah.
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 Nice hit.
Yeah. Jeannie plays good.
She's
The other girl's got her hands full.
She's very proficient. Very proficient.
Yeah, she went to the Philippines and she worked with some of the Filipino stars.
Mm-hmm.
And she's, I think, well, I'm not sure. I was going to say I think she's partially Filipino, but I'm not positive, so I don't want to say that. But anyway,
The last name doesn't help.
well,
SEAVER. She's married.
Right. No.
No?
That was her father's name.
Oh.
I think her father was in the Air Force.
Okay.
A lot of people that lived in the Brevard County in Florida are retired. They have a big Air Force base there, Patrick Air Force Base.
Yes, I'm familiar with it.
And so anyway, a lot of them end up there.
Well, she's got a nice stroke.
Yeah, she's
Confident.
She's tough. And
You know-
she's just going to be a little tricky. She's going to roll this in and
She played up and down table speed.
Yeah, well, she might have to do that because the tables look fast to me now that I.
Yes. Have you noticed? It's
Yeah.
a little fast.
Yeah. She'll probably just come across. There you go. And if the 9 goes in the side, and it does, then she'll just go to the rail and out.
Oh yeah, it goes in all day.
Yep. Doesn't waste any time. Nice.
Wow.
Straight in on the 10 ball. You know how I know I'm in stroke? Is when I get straight in on the 9 or the 10.
Yeah.
And when I see other players do that,
Then you know
I
they're in stroke.
too.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Yep. Now this is alternate break, is that right?
Yes, correct, Mary.
Okay.
It is alternate break.
Okay. Jeannie's better put up her score.
Yeah, well, we get to see her break now. She drive broke the first rack, so Did she ask what the score was?
No, I was just signaling to her that she's got 2.
Oh yeah, you want to remind her to flip her card, right?
Well, we know the scores.
Yeah, we do. We do. She probably just doesn't want to get up while Suzanne's breaking.
Okay.
6 goes down, so.
Yeah, and these are the Cyclops balls, so I'm not familiar with the color. So you're gonna have to help me.
The 6 is the pea soup color, which is
Yeah.
down, and the Easter egg blue or Easter egg
The one
teal.
by the 8.
Yeah,
That's the what? 7.
yeah, yeah. That's the 7.
You know, I don't get why they have to change these colors. You know, they're harder to see on television. They said that the reason they changed them was to make it easier to see on television. And when I watch
That
it on
doesn't
the
help
screen,
me at all.
It doesn't help me at all.
No, it doesn't help. I'm still transposing the 7 and the 6
Yeah.
to this day.
Right, me
And it's
too.
been like almost 4 years.
Yeah, I know. I know.
TK Pool Promotions says, "Hey, Mary and Daniel. SOS is from Washington. Stream looks great."
Hey, TK. Do you have any idea who TK Promotions is?
You know what? I often forget screen names.
The TK that I know is Tommy Kennedy. But-
I don't think
but I
it
don't
is
think
TK.
that's
It
him.
might not be him. No, it's somebody that I actually know, and I can't remember who it is. And I'm so sorry for that.
Okay, Jeannie changed her score. Uh-oh.
Yeah,
They're a little too hard.
Yeah, she did. She's gonna use this jump cue, right? I like her. She's spunky. She's
Yeah,
emotional.
and she plays fast. She plays
got
at
her
good speed.
She got her heart on her sleeve, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think she can.
Maybe she can twirl around it.
Yeah, she's twirling.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna
oh,
go.
boy.
It's gonna go.
Oh. Wow. What
Oh.
a shot. What a shot that would have been.
Yeah.
So that's the 7 by the 8. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
Easter egg. I
Okay.
forgot what Danny Diliberto called it. Easter egg
Easter egg
blue.
blue.
I-
Danny. Sure, he called it a lot of things. But that was probably the only. Well, no, Danny doesn't swear, so maybe that was him. I know that a lot of other people have some other names for him.
oh yeah, that's Tim Kovacs, TK Pool Promotions.
Oh,
He's
okay.
a local
Oh,
here.
Tim. I know Tim.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Hi, Tim.
That's funny. But I don't get the SOSs from Washington. That's what he said. Anyway,
Help from Washington.
yeah.
I don't know. It's a mystery
Oh, look,
to me.
Suzanne answers back with a jump of her own.
Oh, see, now she just broke out the 7.
Yeah.
No, I was going to
The-
say before that the 7 was the problem.
Now the
7,
9's in the way.
8. Yeah, but that's okay because they're all free, though, now.
Yes.
So if whoever can get an open shot, the table is clear.
I have a feeling Jeannie's going to jump right. Well, no, she's not jumping right on it.
I think she's going rail first. Yep. That's exactly what she did.
Oh, look at this! Look at this! Did you see how the ball sprung off that last
yeah.
rail?
Well,
What are you playing with at home? Are you playing with a diamond?
No, I have an Ernesto Dominguez gold crown.
A Dominguez gold crown.
Yes.
Ernesto came to the house and did it.
For years, he used to do the tables in my pool room too.
Oh, that's
But I have
great.
I have a black and chrome gold crown.
Okay. Oh, was that it? So that's a gold crown 3.
3, yeah.
Yeah.
And anyway, and
That's
he,
like-
he took the rails off it and took them back with him to L.A. and put new rubber on the rails and made the pockets 4 1/4 inches.
Oh goodness.
And so there's no shims; they're cut.
Right,
4
yeah, they're
1/4
cut,
inches, and
yeah.
he came back and put my table together, and the table plays really nice.
Well, I bet it does.
Yeah.
I bet it does.
And, in fact, I had it put up twice in Florida, and first time we did it ourselves. And the second time, I got talked into hiring the best mechanic in South Florida.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, you could take the cloth and pick it up off the table. I mean, it was just what a terrible job.
That
they
was
did.
that was the best. Okay.
Terrible job. But anyway,
And
so I couldn't wait to get back, and I waited for Ernesto to come to Vegas so he would come to my house. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
says, I'll feed you and everything. Just
Oh.
you have to come. So he had to come up to do some work for Mark Griffin here. So
Yeah.
he came to the house and put at my table, and it plays great.
I bet. I know it does. I know it does. That was a great story too, by the way. So that was probably the first real mistake.
Yeah,
Well,
I think she had an open pocket.
yeah, she hit that extremely thick.
Yes. Yeah, she
but-
undercut it.
Yeah, and Suzanne, she played a nice little kick on the long rail to hit, to make the 5 while you were talking, Mary.
Right.
But so these little shots that chances she gets to the table, they're going to help her, and that's going to hurt her. But how much of this game do you think is confidence versus obviously skill? But confidence plays a huge part, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Once you achieve a certain level of competence, you have to have the confidence to perform at your whatever speed you are at your level.
Yeah.
And so confidence is huge, and you have to trust yourself, trust your swing. And confidence is huge, because you can have a half a dozen players that all play around the same speed, but there are a couple out of that group that are able to win more.
Just rattle everyone.
Well,
around
they
them.
just play their speed. They always play their speed, and can rise to the occasion and bring it if they have to.
Yeah.
And
That's why I always liked guys like Bustamante,
Boosty, boy, I'll tell you
because
what. What a great player.
like when he played Tony Chohan last year,
Yes.
and we knew
Ooh, rolled up.
Yeah.
Saved her.
Suzanne missed a kind of a.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say a hanger, but
yeah,
kind of
it was
a routine shot
right,
down
it
the
was a
rail,
pretty-
you know.
Yeah.
But just a shot you need to bear down on.
First time I saw Boosty play
Yeah.
was in Chicago at a big tournament.
Yeah.
And Willard and Harold Simonson and Puller Billiard Magazine used to team up and have this tournament every year. And there was always action
Yeah.
at the events in those days, after the matches were done for the day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Bustamante had just come here, and C.J. Wiley
Okay.
matched up.
All right. Okay.
And I found myself a spot on the bleachers, and
Oh.
I sat there and watched these two young guys. I mean, they were both, I think I was maybe 30, and they were probably early 20s. And both of them just put together so many packages. I mean, CJ would get up there and run 6. Francisco would get up there and run 7, and it went down 200 a game.
Yeah.
And they both just played fast and loose and just brilliant. And the only time I got up was to go to the bathroom and to get a hot dog from the snack bar. I mean, I
Were
just
you a
sat up
smoker?
there.
Did you ever smoke
Yeah,
cigarettes?
yes, but you could smoke in the
In the
tournament
pool?
rooms in
Oh,
those
that's right,
days,
yeah.
And so anyway, even at the table in the tournaments, even if they were in arenas, you could smoke at the
Yeah.
tables.
No, I remember now thinking back now, of course, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, I
Hollywood.
sat there and watched those guys for 16, 17 hours. Sat there in the bleachers. My butt was so sore, but it was just unbelievable. Never saw so many packages.
What do you think it is now that I mean, I mean, it can't be what you think. It's obviously you have to know the answer to this. Why don't you see packages anymore? Is it really just the tight pockets?
Well, they don't play 9-ball anymore.
But you really don't see 6, 7,
Well,
8 packages
and
all.
everybody's playing alternate break. You can't make packages with alternate break.
Yeah.
That's why you don't see them. And I got to tell you, people love them.
I'll give you a case in point. When we did the West Coast Swing this year, remember, we changed everything to 9-ball.
Right.
We didn't really see a lot of packages. We saw like a 5-pack, I think, one.
Well, the thing is you don't see packages except with the very elite players.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to see shortstops, put packages
Okay.
together.
All right.
I mean, all of the women, for example. I mean, there's times, where we put, 4 and 5s together.
Yeah.
But, we're not consistent at it. Whereas the better players like Buddy and Siegel and Earl and Nick Varner and Alan Hopkins and, all of those guys. I mean, in the old days, you were liable, you lagged for the break. You were liable not to get to the table.
Yeah.
Except
yeah,
a rack.
True. Winter break.
Winter break, yeah. I don't know how many sets I saw get. Now, with 11, when the men would race to 11, it was harder.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I ever saw anybody run 11. In fact, I know I didn't. But I did see a couple of 9, races to 9 where they ran out, and then lots of races to 7.
Yeah.
Where the guy just didn't do anything wrong, just lost a leg or the flip. I'll tell you a story. You'll like this one. Jose Perica, he was another one, great player back in the old days.
Uh-huh.
And Billy Johnson, Wade Crane, both great players. And both Billy and Jose were playing great. And we were in North Carolina, Charlotte. And we were playing on these tight, wet Gandies.
Okay.
Anyway, so Billy Johnson and I were like running mates. He was my tournament buddy. We hung out at the tournaments. So anyway, I had an automatic 20% of whatever he wanted, whatever he did, if I wanted it.
Okay.
So he came up to me and says, "Okay."
Which means you were good. You also were good for 20% of it too.
Oh yeah,
right?
of course.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, so Billy comes up. He's okay. He says, "Here's the deal." He says, "I want to play Perica races to 8 for 1,000. You want in?" I said, "Sure." He says, "Okay, we're going to start in a few minutes over there." I said, "Okay." So I get there just as they're flipping the coin, and Billy wins the flip. And he runs 8 racks. Jose gets up. They flip it again. Billy wins the flip.
The toss, yeah.
He runs another 8. Jose stands up again. He says, "I play another," in that little voice he has. He says, I play another, but I get first break.
Okay.
And then we all laughed, and we said, "Okay." And then Jose got up and broke 8 and out and did it again.
No kidding.
And
No
Billy looked at me, he looked at Jose, and we went to eat.
A lot of people say the pockets were buckets back then.
No,
5.5 inches.
No.
I mean, I don't remember them being that big.
No.
I mean, I was playing in 85, 86. I don't remember them being that big.
No. The pockets were standard. The biggest they were 5-inch.
Okay.
But most of the tournaments that we played in had, at the biggest, were 4.5. But some tournaments we played on, the tables we played on, were tighter than that.
Yeah.
And this particular tournament that we had twice a year in North Carolina, people that are around the old days, the Rob's Roost tournament, we had it twice a year. It's my favorite tournament.
Rob's Roost.
Rob's Roost. It was a strip joint out in the woods. It was a country western strip joint. And Billy Johnson and Buddy, the guy that owned it,
Yeah.
him and his son, they used to stake Billy and Buddy when they were in town.
Okay.
And they talked Robin and his father into running a pool tournament for us twice a year. So they clear out the whole place, take out all the tables and chairs and bring in 4 Gandies.
4 more Gandies. Here we go with the Gandies again.
Those same ones.
Okay.
And they were tight, and it was always wet there.
Yeah.
We had it in the spring and the fall, and it was always raining and muddy and everything else. And the tournaments were the most fun because they were Calcuttas and just nonstop. Everybody was betting on the matches.
Just action.
And everybody. I mean, that
you just don't see that anymore.
No. Well.
Because now everybody says, "What are you going to give me?"
Yeah, everybody wants to steal.
What are you going to give me?
Everybody wants to steal.
What am I going to give you? You got to earn it.
Yeah.
In order for me to give it.
Yeah. It's very different today. Very different.
Yeah.
To me, today, pool is boring.
Oh.
It is. It really
Oh,
is.
you're killing it for
is.
these people.
Well, to
You're
me,
killing
it
it.
is. I mean,
So many people are loving it still.
well,
you know?
they love
I
it
mean,
because I'm not saying I don't love, but
I know. What you mean.
I mean,
It's changed for you.
it's changed dramatically.
But you've
for
changed
me.
too, you know?
Well,
I mean, haven't you?
I've gotten older,
Yeah.
but if there was action here every night, I'd be down here.
Yeah.
I'd be sweating it, or maybe mixing it up myself, but there's not.
Yeah.
Everything is leagues and handicap Fargo rate tournaments, and it's very, very different. The game is very different.
That's all. That's what I always liked to do, though, when we were streaming, is trying to muster up some action, in that spirit,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the thing is that in the old days, I mean, there was everybody gambled, and they loved it. I mean, the tournaments used to be an excuse for everybody to get together and gamble.
Yeah.
And
We've been thinking about doing more single elimination tournaments, because once you get knocked out, you're still hungry for action.
well, yeah,
You know what I
but
mean?
nobody's going to do anything. That's not gonna make people gamble. People today are going to gamble. I mean, I'm not saying that there's no gambling, because there still is. I mean,
Yeah.
but it's you used to be able to walk into anywhere in the country. I don't care if it was a bar or a pool room, and you could get a game.
Well, okay, so
And there was no haggling about what are you
I
going
don't
to
know.
give me and all of this
I have a
stuff.
little experience though with what's been going on in the Bay Area. I don't know if you've been up there
I used
or
to live
no,
up there for a
but
couple of years.
there seems to be a lot more action up north.
Yeah, there's a little bit.
Still,
There's a little bit.
But you know what? I think some of the old
It's
school
the older
players
ones.
that are
Right,
still keeping
doing
that
it.
spirit
Right.
alive.
Yeah,
you know.
you very rarely see the younger people doing it.
Yeah. So we're going.
And when they do, they want to match up with their
Oh,
Fargo rate.
yeah.
Am I not supposed to knock that?
This is America, baby.
That's right. Yeah,
It's,
that's right.
It's your constitutional right
Yeah. Yeah.
of free speech.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So Jeff Gray, he says in the chat room, I tried to get a match with Daniel giving me the 6, but no.
Yeah, and then that's also, they woof on Facebook. I get such a kick out of
They
that.
woof,
now.
yeah, they woof on Facebook.
You
They
know, it's
do.
like they woof
They
on
do.
Facebook. And when
Like,
you, and then
like
when
make
you,
it a big
but in the
public
pool,
thing.
But in the pool room, they don't want to. They won't even talk to you. They just, they won't say a word. It's very easy to sit behind the computer and run your mouth.
So the 8-ball goes down. Suzanne misses the breakout, but this has been like 4 or 5 innings on these 3 balls. So
Well, it's because the
ball's tied
balls
up.
are tied
it's
up.
like it's the first one to make the 8 loses.
Well, she tried to break them out, but the thing is that you have to be sure you're going to break them out. You got to be sure you're going to at least hit them. And on that shot, if she knew where she was going to hit on the rail, she would have.
Jeannie could. Yep. Jeannie's gonna steal it. That was a good shot.
Yep.
She's got.
Ooh, she missed it. See, you sharked her. The commentator's curse.
Cursed her. Yeah. Do you know? It's funny. I was watching, of all things, foosball streaming.
Really?
Right.
I remember in the bars, some of the bars used to have foosball teams, and some of those guys really played good.
And the guy goes, "Ooh, commentators curse." I couldn't believe it. I was like, "Wait a second."
Really? In a
I'm like,
foosball?
where did this come
That's
first?
funny. Yeah. Well, maybe other sports they have that. I don't know. I don't watch other sports on television.
David Baker says, "I love Mary."
I love you too, David.
So
Okay, so Suzanne gets
just
off the
gets
off
on the
the
board.
tempo. She made the made her first. The first one's always the toughest, you know.
It is. It's that icebreaker.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
This Daniel Busch, I'm with Mary Kenniston. I'm sure she'll take your questions in the chat room. No, I don't want to put you on the spot.
Well, sure. I don't have to answer them, but you can ask them.
We're just having a good time here at this wonderful event. You know, it's a lot of. You know, I'm happy with the level of play I've been seeing. You know.
Well, here's the thing. When I started, and this was, you know, many, many years ago, I started in the mid-'70s. I'm not exactly sure the year. I'm thinking 75-ish.
Sure.
And women's pool was pretty much in its infancy.
Uh-huh.
My first tournament was Madeline Whitlow's last, and Madeline and Palma Bird were two of the founders of the WPBA.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was one of the pioneers, I guess, you would, in women's pool.
Right.
And we would have, well, Laurie John, I used to take her to tournaments when she was 11.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. And,
And now
she's like my little sister, you know.
She's married, living in
Yeah.
South Carolina.
Yep.
And
But anyway,
still looks great, plays
Jean
great.
Lucas
Uh-huh.
was the best player.
Somebody was asking about her in the chat room as to where she's been.
Jean's still in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
Her father had a pool room in Brooklyn. In fact, when we first started the WPBA, we would have 1 or 2 tournaments a year at that tournament.
Uh-huh.
And then her parents have died. And anyway, Jean, it was a big pool room. It was on the first floor, on the main floor, there was, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 pool tables.
Okay.
I mean, I'm thinking 30.
It is a big
30.
pool room.
I'm thinking 30, maybe even more. And then downstairs, they had a bowling alley
Wow.
with, I don't know, 15
Yeah,
lanes maybe.
dozen or so lanes.
And then I didn't know they had the upstairs. I don't even know what was upstairs. But, you know, maybe it was offices. Who knows? Maybe people lived up there. I don't know. But anyway, Jean inherited the building. Well, her family did. And Jean took out the bowling alley.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if she moved the pool tables downstairs or anyway, it's part pool room and part fitness center. And Jean is very into fitness. And
To this day?
Yes, that's what she does.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And I haven't seen her in, boy, it's probably been, well, it was before I moved from Vegas, so it had to be at least maybe 12, 13 years ago.
So just no falling out, just kind of just
Well, yeah,
went
we
your
don't
own
have,
ways.
we don't
went
have
your own
any
ways.
tournaments anymore.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But anyway, but back to what I was saying, there were only a half a dozen of us girls that played pool.
Right, right.
And, you know, when Jean could, you know, and we played straight pool in those days.
Ah.
So when Jean could, you know, run 8, you know, I could run maybe 5. You know, when Jean ran a rack, I could run 10. You know, and,
she had,
and the other girls, you know,
considerable talent.
Well, she was just always, you know, a step ahead of everybody, and she was fortunate in that she got a little bit of instruction too. I mean, she had an awful lot of natural ability, but she did get some instruction. Whereas I walked around with $100 bills in my hand, literally. I had a real good job back there. In those days, I was selling yellow pages. And I was making good money.
Okay.
I walk around with $100 bills in my hand, begging Mizrak and Hopkins and
To
Margot,
play,
and to give me lessons,
Oh,
to teach
to
me
give
how
you
to
lessons.
play. And everybody had an excuse, you know. And the girls aren't going to be able to play, and you know, it was unbelievable. But anyway,
What was that, do you think? What is that, do you think? They just don't want to give up the secrets.
well, in those days, nobody wanted
Or-
to show you anything, you know, not even to each other. And also, it was, you know,
Don't want to
the
teach
beginning
women.
of women's lib, and
Yeah.
you know, a lot of pool rooms I went in, I wasn't even welcome.
Wow.
You know, I mean, it was just very different, and Anyway, but back to the beginnings of the WPBA. There was only, a half a dozen, maybe 8 of us that would go, and we'd have our little tournaments, $25 entry fees, and we'd drive. We had, in Philly, we had, Mike Fusco, Boulevard Athletics. He'd have a tournament for us once a year. Gene's dad would run a tournament for us once a year. New London, Cy Dolly up in New London, Connecticut. And we'd all pile into cars and go from place to place.
Yeah.
And we'd compete. And that was the early days of the WPBA. And the only people that would come to watch us play would be your mother, your boyfriend.
Really?
It just, and it was just very different. So, 40 years later, to get 64 women to play in an event, I think is wonderful.
I think it is too.
So we've come a long way, baby. And there are several of the women that play very well.
Well,
now,
you also have a women's world championship now,
Well, we used to have one in those days too.
Yeah.
But, there were only, half a dozen people that were playing it. But anyway, my point is that it is not considered rare or unacceptable or whatever you want to call it, to see women play. And some of them play very well.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that now that they're starting younger, people like April and some of the juniors, they're coming up, that someday, if they stay with it.
She is talented. This Jeannie SEAVER.
Jeannie SEAVER, yeah.
She's talented. I'm
Plays
watching.
good. Yeah.
She's,
Yeah, she plays good.
Yeah.
She plays like a man. They
She
say
free
that about
strokes.
me.
She free strokes.
She plays like a man.
That's what they said about you?
Yeah. The different strokes. But anyway, it's very different today. Okay, that makes it 5-1.
Yeah, it's
And you're going to 7, is that correct?
Yeah, and it's been 37 minutes. Did you go on the? Yeah, did you go on the road?
Sure.
Action, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Dark-
left by myself.
Dark horse.
I left by myself.
Did you?
Well, actually, I went with a friend. I was between jobs. So I had like 2 weeks between jobs, and the U.S. Open in Norfolk was coming up.
Okay.
And this is when by then I'm living in New Jersey, North Jersey. So I wanted to go. So one of my friends, pretty good player, said he'd go with me. I said, okay. I said, but you got to get your own ride back because I'm going from there to Louisville because I had qualified to play in the BCA National 8-Ball Championships. So I was going to go from Louisville, and then I was going to come home. So Phil said, okay, because a lot of the guys, he would have no problem getting a ride back because everybody drove down there. Okay, so we drove down it. So we left. We left at like 10, 11 o'clock at night. So by the time we got south of Philly, a couple hours later, I was hungry. And I said, you hungry? He said, yeah. He said, I could eat something. So we got off the interstate and we got on Highway 1, which runs parallel with 95. And as soon as we got off, a mile or two down the road, there was this bar, and said had food, and there were a lot of cars there. So I said, let's go in there. So we pull in. He says, okay. He says, the place is really crowded. But he says, grab those 2 seats at the bar. I got to go to the bathroom. I said, okay. So I go to the bar, sit down. I grab a menu off the bar. And all of a sudden, and they had this one bar table. And when I walked in, I just saw a couple drunks playing 8-ball. So I didn't pay any attention. And then all of a sudden I hear, well, I'll just play you some for 100. So I just turned around, you know, it got my attention.
Of course.
And anyway, and these dudes, I mean, like I said, they're just two old drunks, you know.
Whoa. Did you just
She
see that
miscued.
shot?
Yeah.
Huh? Did you see
Yeah,
that?
she sliced it in. But anyway, so long story short, oh no, look what she just did.
Same shooter, Mary.
You know how often that happens? And I was told a long time ago, after you make a great shot, just take a lap around the table.
Yeah, settle down.
Settle down.
Settle
If you're
down.
fired up, you know,
Yeah.
take a lap around the table and then go back and finish your job. But anyway, so I heard, I'll play you some for 100. So it got my attention. So so I'm watching it. Now by this time, Bill came back. He said, "You order?" I said, "Oh no, I forgot all about it." I said, "They play for 100 a game." He says, "Yeah, okay. I want to give me." So
Yeah.
anyway, I said, I said, "Well, I want to get in on that." He said, "Well, put your quarter up." So I waited till it was almost to the end of the game, and I put my quarter up. And one of the drunks looks at me and he says, "We're playing for money here, you know." And I says, "Oh, well, I play for money." He says, "Yeah, well, you're not playing for the kind of money we're playing for." And I says, "Well, what kind of money are you playing for?" And I'm trying to act real innocent and everything. And probably looked like I was, because I think I was like 23. It looked like I was 12.
Yeah.
And anyway, he says, "We're playing for $100. I says, "Well, I'll play you some for 100. So the guy says, "Post." And so I reached in my
Post.
pocket. Oh, well, he didn't say post. He says, "Well, show me that you have 100.
Sure.
So I reached in my pocket and I just dumped my money on the table and I picked out 100. You know, and there's anyway, there was a lot of money.
Out of
there.
a yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, their eyes got real big. So anyway, like 1100 later, it was 6 in the morning and we were exhausted, and so we were sitting in the motel room, and I was, we were picking money out of 20s and 5s and 100s, and you're just throwing it all in the middle of the bed. And anyway, I never took that job.
Yeah. That is funny.
Never took that job.
That's funny.
Yeah. I mean, I used to have to work, for a month to make 1100.
Oh, I know. Right.
Anyway,
Yes.
and it was fun.
I bet.
It was fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, I went down to the U.S. Open, and I met Buddy Hall, even though I didn't know who he was, and I kind of was mean. I was rude to him
Oh yeah.
right off the bat.
That's gotta be funny.
Well, do the people want to hear commentary, or do they want to hear another story? Ask the people. See what they think. Are they screaming that she's telling too many stories, or are they loving it?
Well, nobody's complaining. I don't think. It's Mary Kenniston. Sorry if I misspelled it, Mary.
That's all
That's
right.
pretty it. That's all.
Okay. All right. So I get to Norfolk, and
In Virginia.
in those days, it was held in Barry Berman's little pool room, and they had like 3 or 4 tables in a little tournament room, and then the rest of it was pool room, and it was, it was just a pool room, I don't know, a dozen tables or so. Anyway, so I'm running around looking for action, and I find some, and I'm playing somebody 5 game or something, and there's this guy just standing there against the wall, leaning against the wall, scruffy looking, but then everybody in those days looked scruffy, all the guys did. And he's just leaning up against the wall, and he's watching. And, anyway, so for like an hour, he's standing there, he's not moving, he's just standing there smoking and watching. Anyway, so finally I beat the guy, and he quits.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm gathering up the balls, and the guy walks over to the table, and he says, you might be a good player if you knew what you were doing. Or you could be a good player if you knew what you were doing, or something like that, Well, now, like I told you, I walked around with $100 bills in my hand, begging, all these champions, to show
you
me
lessons,
anything. And
yeah.
then here's this guy, looked like he was homeless, telling me that, if I knew something, if I had a clue, I might be able to play. So anyway, I told him off. I said, I am so sick of hearing you guys, you just, knocking.
Badgering you.
Bad, yeah, just, and he looked at me, and he took it. And then I just kind of and I just, I was wasting my time. I was throwing the balls. And he put his hand on my arm. He says, you really want to learn how to play, don't you? And I just looked up at him. Yeah. He says, put your stick back together. And he says, they got a mirror in the ladies' room, in the bathroom? I said, yeah. He says, put your stick back together and go in there and get down like you're getting down to shoot a ball and look at yourself in the mirror and then come back out. And I thought to myself, oh, Jesus.
What kind of Jedi mind tricks is he playing on me, right?
This is what I get, for even talking to this guy, right? But something about him, is...
You took it serious.
I figured,
something about it.
I figured, what the hell, So I go in the bathroom and I get down in front of the mirror, like he said, and I look in the mirror and I look at myself, and it's the first time I'd ever seen myself
playing pool.
Yeah.
Really?
And I didn't look like everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
I was shooting like this instead of, I was like this. I was shooting across my eyes rather than, And I stood up and I got down again and same thing. I said, well, geez. Anyway, so I walked out. I'm stunned. And he said, and he's waiting for me. And he says, you didn't like what you saw, did you? He says, I can fix that. I said, really? He says, yeah. Well, anyway, he spent probably a half hour with me. Oh, and then the first thing he says to me, he says, get down. Like you're going to shoot a ball. And he says, why are you holding your stick your hand so far up the cue, Uh-huh. He says, you got to, he takes my arm. He says, he says, why are you holding it like that? I says, well, because in Mosconi's little red book, it tells you how to find the balance points.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to hold your cue 6 to 8 inches behind the balance point. And so he says, well, yeah, if you're 5'6" like he is, you're almost 6 feet tall. You got to hold it in the back. Well, as soon as I started holding it in the back, all of a sudden I straightened out.
It shifted everything.
Everything. So he showed me
weight distribution.
Right, so he showed me all that stuff. Line up this, with this, and everything in line. And he says, now go look in the mirror. And I looked in the mirror, and boy, I look great, I came back out, and he says, okay. He said, I got to go play. He said, I know it's going to be hard. He says, but it's just like driving a car. He says, first time you get behind the wheel, it's tough. You got to remember, key in, foot on the brake, and he says, now you just jump in the car and you drive away. It'll take you about a day to get used to it. He says, but stay with it.
Wow, this match was,
it was quick.
Pretty quick. And, to Suzanne's credit, she had some opportunities. She had a lot less opportunities watching Jeannie shoot.
Well, Jeannie's plays well, and she plays good saves. And to her credit, she didn't miss too many balls. Robin's taking my picture. She's going to put it on Facebook, I bet.
I feel... Thank you.
Anyway, so let me just finish my story real quick. So now I hit some balls for like a half an hour, and then I hear a roar from the tournament room. So I said, oh yeah, I want to go in and watch these matches. So I put my stuff and I went and paid my time, and like I say, the room was really small.
Uh-huh.
Good one.
I love it. That's a great picture. Thank you.
So anyway, I go in there, and Hopkins is sitting up there, and he sees me looking around for a seat, and I mean, it's really crowded. And it's small. And he waves at me, and he goes, and he hits, and he kind of sits. So anyway, I climb up there, and I sat next to him. And there were 3 or 4 tables, and I knew everybody on the different tables. Rempe was playing. And anyway, and then I see the guy. And I'll never forget the shot. He had just broken the balls, and the one was down by the corner pocket, a couple inches, close to the rail, a couple inches up and a couple inches from the pocket. Cue ball was straight in on the other end, on the opposite end of the table, about about a ball's width from the rail. He trudged around the table and got down and got up, got down, got up. And then he got down and he couldn't go rail first or anything else. Anyway, long story short, he just jacks up and he hits the ball, and the cue ball stops for like 2 seconds. And then all of a sudden he goes bzzz, and came all the way back to the end rail and bounced up to like the middle diamond.
Yeah.
And he ran out.
You never seen anything like it.
And I said to Alan, I says, who is that guy? Alan says, oh, that's Buddy. You don't know Buddy Hall? Well, now I'm mortified because I was so rude to Buddy. I mean, Buddy, I'd heard, all I heard was like stories about Buddy. In those days he was like the god, and I had told him off. Anyway, that was how I met Buddy Hall. I told him off.
That's funny. That's funny. So I'm sitting here with Mary Kenniston, and looks like this match is over. We might have to take another break, and I think our next match is at 5. I'm actually going to have to find out.
No, the 5 o'clock
I'm
match
sorry,
is
the 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock.
Yeah, these are the 5 o'clock.
So we got either a lot of downtime with you, or we've got downtime in the room. You can go mingle. So it's up to you.
Well, if you want to sit here, I can sit here.
Yeah.
Because I can watch Lori John play now.
Okay. So we're telling stories with Mary Kenniston, and it's a blast. So and if you guys are anywhere near Griff's, come on down. I mean, it is happy hour now still. And
how late are the matches tonight? We have a
I
7
believe
o'clock
there's
round
a 9
and
o'clock. There's a 9 o'clock round,
that's it?
and then.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they start again at 9 in the morning tomorrow.
I believe so. In fact,
that's
while we're on the
9
subject,
in the
I'm gonna go check with the. I know, right? While we're on that subject, I'm gonna go check with Chris Rogers, and I'm gonna leave you for 2 seconds.
Okay.
2 minutes.
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay. You can read the chat room. How's that? You might get some compliments while I'm gone.
Can you make the print bigger? I forgot my glasses.
Oh, you want to borrow these?
Sure, just leave them there. All right, let's see who we have in the chat. Oh, these are perfect. Okay. David, you like my stories, huh? Oh, there's AC Henry. Henry left. Benny, I still play. I have a table in my house. If you just got here, I was talking with Daniel about my table. It was Dominguezed. Ernesto Dominguez did the work for it. When I got the table, the pockets were soft, and so I had him take the rails off. And
how are you?
I'm doing good. Hang on a second. And I had Ernesto. He put new rubber on it and had the pockets made 4 1/4. And so anyway, that's where I play, and I play every day. And now that I'm back in town, I have to fight off my challengers. I have all my old sparring partners coming by. And Jeannie SEAVER just showed up, my old sparring partner from Florida, and she just
my sparring partner.
Yeah. Hi, Jeannie. Robin's taking our picture.
She's so
She's going to put it on Facebook. I know she is.
Hi guys, thanks for watching.
You played good.
Thank you. That's fun.
You played good. Jeannie SEAVER is
I heard you guys
joined
say,
me.
wow, did you see that shot? And I got on the
I know. And you know what I told, I'll pass this on to you. You may have heard it. Years ago, when I was working with Buddy, he said, after you make a real good shot, he says, take a lap around the table.
Good call.
He says, and settle down. He says, and then go back and finish the job.
That's a good call.
Yep.
I should have done that.
Yep. So just
One
remember
walk
that.
around the table and I would have made that shot for sure. But I've always been a fast player. I can't help it.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's another thing. That's why I used to like playing with you.
I know, me too. You play fast. I don't like
Yeah,
this.
me neither. Me neither.
Always loved the
Jeffrey.
game, though.
Mary, get in front of the camera. I don't believe you're 6'4". I'm not 6'4". That's really tall.
She's
But I'm
6'3" and a
6 foot. I'm 5'12". Anyway, so I was telling stories. You must have some good stories.
I'm pretty sure I do. I mean, traveling the world with Guy Young Kim, you know.
Yeah. Tell me a Guy Young Kim Jeannie SEAVER story.
No.
Well,
no.
one that you can tell to
No
everybody.
I can't think of one off the top
Can't
of my
think
head.
of? Okay. Well, then
Probably
just
just
tell me a
comes up.
story.
I don't know.
You don't know any stories? No.
I mean, I do, but it's like I can't come up with them in the spur of the moment.
Okay.
If you say something and I think of something in my head that triggers into another story, then I can say it. But
Well, have you? I think you've been playing a lot lately.
I have been playing a lot.
And
And working in pool. That's it. Like I work Monday through Thursday, sometimes Fridays, but that's it. Monday through Thursday, and then I.
so then you have a 3-day weekend. Well,
Then I have
that
a
works
pool
out
table
good.
in my living room, so
I know. You wait until I
Practice in
move
the
before
morning
you got a
somewhere.
table in your house.
I sure did. But I bought my pool table before I bought the house.
I know. I never got. She's got a beautiful house on the river, and I never got to see it.
On the river in Rockledge, Florida.
Yep. How have you done lately in the tournaments?
This one, the NAPT, the last one, I was one place. I lost the match before the Sunday matches. So
Okay.
I think that put me at like 13th or 16th.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a pretty brutal match. Me and Brittany at 1 o'clock in the morning.
No.
Neither one of us could run 3 balls.
And
in a
did you
row.
start
We
at
were so
9 in the
tired.
morning that day? Yeah, I don't get that.
Yep.
I don't get that.
It's alright.
That's way early.
It's grinding.
It's
all
really
about the
early.
grind.
I don't think I would have played in tournaments if they started at 9 a.m. in the old days.
See Vivian's post this morning. I'm playing at 9 a.m.
Mo, my last name is Kenniston. Mary Kenniston.
You don't know Mary Kenniston? Former U.S. Open champion.
Nope, not a U.S. Open champion. That's
Oh,
one
no?
that I never won.
Oh, I
Nope,
thought you did.
nope,
Okay.
never did.
Well, she won multiple WPBA titles.
Yeah, national champion and world champion, but never won the U.S. Open. Got close a couple times,
World
but
champion.
yeah,
That's pretty impressive.
yeah.
I don't care if you're blind, Mary. You still can't have the 8.
Oh, that A.C. Henry. Yeah.
She don't need the 8 from anybody.
Yeah.
Alright, well, thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to take off.
All right, you taking off, kiddo?
Yes.
All right, when do you play again, do you know?
1 p.m. tomorrow.
Oh, good.
My mom is here.
Oh,
so
she
I'm
is.
going to hang out with her. She's right
Oh, I didn't even see her. Hi, Mom.
there. Can't hear you. She's talking about. Bye, guys.
Yeah, okay. Bye, Jeannie. Take care. Good luck tomorrow.
So good to see you.
Yeah, I'll be around all weekend.
Yay.
Promise. Okay, that was Jeannie SEAVER. She's on the winner's side. She flew all the way from Florida here to Vegas with her mom. Her mom is a champion sweater. I don't have any videos on YouTube that I know of. I stopped playing in '99. And I don't even know if YouTube was around in those days. I know that there are highlights of some of my matches from the early 90s, but I don't know where they would be. I don't know where they would be. In those days, it was different. We didn't have streaming, and we didn't. The AccuStat matches, I believe that. Well, I know that Pat Fleming with AccuStats did tape some of the matches, the women's matches, and I don't know if they are available through AccuStats anymore. And I know that I did some commentary with Billy and Cardona in the early days of the AccuStats videos. You know, when they first started, when Pat first started the AccuStats, it was basically a statistical system. and he taught a few of us how to score the matches on paper. And so I was going to watch the matches anyway, so he would just tell me, go to the board, tell me what match you want to watch, and then you can score it. So I would go to the board, and I would score Earl and Varner, or whatever the good match was. Anyway, so I learned how to do that, and then, but Pat couldn't find enough people that either wanted to or were capable of doing the scoring, because you had to know a little bit about the game. And so he started videotaping them. And then he would score them himself when he got home. Well, what happened was some people eventually asked him if they could get copies of that video. And, all of a sudden the bell rang and in his head, and so he started doing one match, and he would ask people to commentate. And again, in the old days, a lot of the guys didn't want to get in the front of the microphone. So, Billy Incardona was a good friend of mine, and so if Billy couldn't find one of the better players, he'd hunt for me, or Pat would say, go over there and commentate with Billy, so he's got somebody in the booth with him. And so anyway, I loved sitting there with Billy. And because, not only was he a great player, but, he's developed into a great commentator. But that's how he got his start, and we're still good friends to this day. Jeff, I don't know, Daniel is not here. He went to the bathroom, so I don't know what's going on. We're not doing anything here. They're going to have another round at 7 o'clock, and, oh, here he comes.
Mary, are you all right?
Yeah, Jeff says it's buffering. Are you rebooting? And I told him I didn't think so. And then, do we know who we're going to see at 7 o'clock?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
Okay, well, there is going to be another match at 7 and another one at 9.
Okay.
So we have 2 more matches to...
So actually, they're actually telling me that that I'm not obligated to stream these next 2 matches if I don't want to.
Okay.
So because they realize that I may be overextended, that I've worked I'm on very little sleep.
If you
and all
want
that.
to, I'll sit here with you and keep
Oh,
you company.
that's lovely. Well, you know what?
Don't, that's fine too.
I have a feeling we're going to probably end up talking for a while anyway tonight.
Yeah.
So stand by, guys. We'll be right back. We actually, Mary, let's take a little break because I want to reboot everything and start over.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to reboot the stream. We're not going anywhere. I'm not going to stop streaming, guys, okay?
Yeah, we got another match coming
I haven't
up
made
at
that.
7.
Yeah, 7 o'clock. We'll give you another match. Stand by. Your call